Hello, everybody, and welcome to our 2021, I guess we have to say it that way, 2021 New Year's Summit. We are so excited to have you all here. And, we have to do all the summit things. So we've got our bowl of energy chews and tea and snack bars. I mean, we have to have our bowl ready, right? So we'll just set that there. And we also have, our letterboard, like we always do. And we're gonna post a graphic of this for you in the event so that you can post this as well, because this is our theme for this summit, Resilient Together for Good. And we want you to be able to talk about that and to be part of that, because that is
Sure.
Vanna White. I decided that we do need to tell our children who Vanna White is, so that when those kind of references come up, they know what that is. Anyway, but Resilient for Good has really been such a theme of this year for our team. And you can see that in a lot of things. And you can see that, I'm gonna share my screen in just a minute to show all of the incredible rank advancements that our team has had this year. It has been just incredible. And we couldn't even put up all the Star Club, people who earned Star Club, and all the people who had their best months ever. In the midst of so many things that everyone was going through, you were resilient, and we did good. We did good things for people this year. And it's really incredible. And we want to celebrate that. We want to celebrate that today. And we also want to talk about what it looks like to continue to move forward into 2021 to continue to do good. And we are just so proud of this team. And we're proud, like we always say, not because, you have a new title, but because of the good work that you did for people. And that is why that rank is there. And so I'm just going to share my, hang on a second. I'm going to get my screen ready here and share my screen to you guys. Oops, hang on. See, we even have some technical difficulties not in person. So just a sec. Let's see. Here we go. There we go. Okay, so we just want to celebrate that we had some incredible new ranks this year, and that we really have so much to celebrate as a team. And like I said, this doesn't even cover all the amazing things that happened this year. And so, but we just want to recognize you guys who have done so well and made such a difference in the lives of people. And we've had some big ranks too. And a lot of people who got to take advantage of the 20K in 2020. And so as we're looking at 21K in 21, which is just as awesome. It doesn't roll off the tongue as well, that's for sure, but it is just as awesome. Just some really exciting things. So as we go into this, there's a lot to think about. There's a lot to process. And Ryan's going to share a few things with us as we get started.
Cool. Yeah, we are pumped. Glad to be together here today. Raise your hand if you're dressed the most comfortably you've ever been dressed for the New Year's Summit. Yeah, enjoy that. See, so today we're just excited. We've got a lot that we're going to be walking through together and get to hear from some awesome folks. And so we're excited about that. But with Shaklee, so quickly our mind goes so often to the health side, right? And what we have to share in the way of health. And that, of course, is part of the core of what we do. But as we head into 2021, and just like always, are looking for opportunities to share the business with people, but even more so now, because I think, as many of you know and have experienced, there's a need for something like this more than ever. I think it's interesting, it's a good idea for us to look at what we really have in terms of the ability to bring something powerful to people. Okay, the health piece, of course, is core and is important, but like we always say, we have to be sharing the business as well to make sure that we're giving people the full picture of what the power of Shaklee really is. And as we head into 2021, I know that all of us have probably kind of had that conversation with somebody of like, yeah, 2020 is behind us, but that doesn't mean the problems of 2020 or challenges of 2020 don't continue to move forward in 2021. And even if they didn't, every year of our life brings challenges, right? I mean, whether it's has something to do with what we walked through in 2020 or the new challenges that every year brings, we all have challenges, whether it's us here or the people we interact with and are sharing Shaklee with. And, you know, as Harper and I look back on our time with Shaklee being in our lives, there have been a lot of other ups and downs, you know, with other businesses or relationships or just seasons of life. And we truly look back just as an act of gratitude towards the provision of what Shaklee has provided for us as something consistent and even something that has grown during some of those challenging times. And so we want that increasingly so for everybody on our team and for all of the people who aren't on our team yet, but who we'll all be sharing the business with in this year, so that they have that as well. They have that backstop, that provision. And so the fact that, you know, that we are all here today is really providence in our lives, we believe, because of what Shaklee has to offer. And again, I think it's just important to look at, of course, we know a lot about the health side of what we have to offer and the power of that, and that's huge. But let's look as well at the other needs that we can meet. So I'm going to incorporate a little bit of the other thing that I do and that I've been doing for the last 20 years. And I actually pulled a couple slides. There's a book that we use quite a bit. It's called How Money Works. And I pulled just a couple slides to take a look at some things that will help frame for us really the power of what we have to offer here at Shaklee. These may be things that apply to you, or maybe they don't, but they absolutely apply to so many other people that you're going to run into and have a conversation with. Let's see, move forward here. So as far as the Shaklee opportunity, looking at just some of these statistics that exist out there in the world that we're interacting with people in, you know, 44%, almost half of Americans don't have the ability to cover a $400 emergency. 43% of people with student loans are not making payments. 38% of households right now have massive credit card debt that they're not able to catch up to and get paid down. And you know, one of the things too that we look at long term is 33% of Americans do not have any retirement savings. And that's pretty alarming. And it's even more alarming when we look at it and we say, okay, a third of Americans don't have any retirement savings, but there's probably another third that have retirement savings, but not an adequate amount or an amount that's going to meet the needs that they have in the future. And so these are needs that exist out there with the people that you talk to that, yes, they have a need for what Shaklee can do to work with them in their health, in the area of health. But man, these other areas that are very closely intertwined, the financial piece of their life that causes stress, that creates the inability for them to do the things that they feel called to do, that is a huge piece of the need that we can meet as well. And so oftentimes when people run into these challenges, they go and they find a side hustle, right? And they go do something, they make some money, maybe they address some of these challenges. And then when they're done, they don't have anything to show for it because they've gone out and they've worked in a side hustle role in someone else's business. That's not a bad thing. And it's a great way to take care of some of these things. But man, what if there was a better way? You know, what if there was something like Shaklee where they have the ability to start a business and it becomes, instead of an end, a means to an end, a business like this can become the end as well. And it can also become that machine that they have in their life to continue to address the challenges that continue to come up in life. Like they might pay down student loan debt, but 5 years later, there might be a medical issue that they have to address. And Shaklee can be that. It can be that not just a means to an end, but it can be an end that continues to go with them throughout life. It can be a business that they walk away from that first time they step into it for a side hustle to address some of these needs. And when they're done, they have a business under their feet.
And what I was going to add to that is it's super interesting because you talk about this and like retirement and these other seasons of life and thinking about that. And someone who recently joined our team who had come from another company said, I couldn't imagine myself being in that company when I'm 70, but here I'm excited to keep being part of this business when I'm 70. And yes, it may look different, but I mean, we see people like Barb Lagoni and hundreds of other people who are in their 70s and 80s who are still excited about this business. I remember an event we went to once where this woman stood up and she's 95 and she said, my passion really still is to help kids with ADHD. At 95, she's still flourishing in this passion, and that this is something that like, and that really stood out to me that that this person who joined our team said that about like, I can still see myself being part of this when I'm 70. And I think that that's exciting, not just for like our passion and our excitement about helping people with their health, but what that means for our long-term financial future.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think it's a good thing for us to think through today as we're listening and learning and talking together. The power of what we've got. I think all of us, when we think of Shaklee, so quickly goes to the product side in terms of the health products and things like that. And those are essential and they're awesome. And we love them. And that's what has gotten probably most of us into this business. But just recognizing like you have this to offer people. Okay. You have this to bring to people. You have the ability to sit down with somebody and say, man, okay, you are $300 away every month from stepping out of the month, still in the red, still not able to cover everything to pay and get out of credit card debt, so much, so on and so forth. Let's look at a plan to create $300 to $500 in your life for your family in the next 3 to 6 months, and even sooner than that. And that's a great thing. I think about so much of what we're going to see today and what we're seeing from Shaklee right now is there's more opportunities to make more money sooner. Okay. And so that is a huge, huge gift that we have to bring to people, especially in times like this. So that's a little bit about the short-term, like here and now needs that people have that Shaklee, we believe and we've seen and we know can, through so many of your stories and our story, we know these needs can be addressed. But let's also look long-term. Okay. So when we look at the need all of us have financially for long-term, it is a matter of building wealth. And when I say building wealth, a lot of people are like, well, hey, like I don't need to be wealthy. I don't need to be rich. Okay. Henry David Thoreau, some of you may be familiar with, he had a comment that said, to be wealthy is to have the ability to fully experience life. Okay. And I think that we can relate to that, right? We get that. That makes sense. But in the 21st century, right now, being wealthy is more than just being able to fully experience life. It really is coming down to, and I think as time goes on, will come down to financial survival. Okay. So right now, the generations before us, they've had Social Security, they've had fully funded, successful, well-run pensions. You know, for example, those are just two of the three-legged stool that people build their future income on, right? Is knowing that they're going to have those things that really are going to be taken away and are going to continue to fail us more and more at this point, unfortunately. And so it does come down more so to personal responsibility. And right now, 63% of people are afraid of having too much life at the end of their money versus generations before us who planned it out and who knew that there's a good chance they're actually going to have more money at the end of their life to pass on to their heirs. And so this is really flipping, and it's a dynamic that's changing. And most people are not on track just with the money they're putting away every month or every year to actually get to what it is they need in retirement to be able to have the income replacement that they need. And so what we look at the Shaklee opportunity as, and what you can look at it and present it as and see it as you work with people to really explore what this can do for their business. It's an income source. It's a source of income that they can have alongside what they put aside for retirement, whether it's in a work plan or a personal plan, to create a portion of that income to help, bring up the shortage and the shortfall that exists. So, man, there's so much more on this, and I could talk like all morning, but I won't. I think that I'll leave you with just a couple thoughts on this, just again to give a real quick snapshot of the power of our business and how when we shared that part of Shaklee this year more than ever before, the difference that we can make, not just today, not just this year, but 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, the next generation for these families that we are working with. It's so much more than just, hey, the health side, which again that's if we don't have that, and if we don't believe in the awesomeness of Shaklee and the products that they produce, then we lack integrity, and we don't want that. And that's why we love Shaklee as far as the product. But when we look at the product as a business, it's so much more powerful. And so there's really 4 ways, and they're in front of you, that a business like this can help people. And one, it's procrastination. And at first might not necessarily make sense how the Shaklee business helps people not procrastinate. But so many people are looking for an opportunity. They're looking for something to generate that additional income, but they don't know where to start. And that's where you come in. That's where we come in. But just as powerfully, the opportunity that we have with Shaklee for people to start a business that can cash flow in a short-term period of time and over a mid-term period of time of a year, maybe 6 months, a year, 2 years, to really replace a significant amount of income, or even a full-time income, is huge. And so right now, for example, if somebody wants to go start a franchise, they've got to go do research for the franchise, probably spend anywhere from $250,000 to $2 million to purchase the rights to the franchise, probably go into debt for some property to actually put that franchise on, right? And before you know it, they are making negative income those first 1 to 3 to 5 years of being in business, and they're $500,000, $1 million, $2 million in debt. Okay, and it takes 10, 20 years for them to even break even. Right now, with Shaklee, the ability for people to get into this business and not go into debt, which I won't even go into the issue that is these days, but not go into debt, but be able to, and there's good reasons to go in debt, so don't get me wrong on that. So much of the debt out there is not good. Anyway, we can help people get into a business where they can create income like this month, okay? And it's not going to be a full-time income or even a part-time income, but if we do the right things with them, we can help them not have to procrastinate and have a track to run on, okay? So secondly, inflation. That is a huge issue in terms of accumulating wealth. There's a lot of different reasons that a business like this can help people combat inflation. I'm not going to dig deep into those right now. Maybe some other time we can do a separate deal, but the ability to have income stream created through this business to complement whatever people are putting away for retirement is a huge part of how we can help people combat inflation. And then, losses in the market, in your investments, that's inevitable. As the market goes up and down, everybody is going to incur losses and gains. They go together. But one of the things that's really cool that we've talked to so many people who've been in this business for a long time, talking decades and decades and decades, their experience has been that this business, I wouldn't say any of them have said it's recession proof, but it's recession resistant, okay? And I would say that so many times when we've seen the market and the economy do weird things over the last 15 years of us building a business here, we have seen where this business is not impacted as much by those things. And in fact, at times grows. I mean, how many of you have seen that this year? I mean, the stock market's been awesome this year, right? But so many other parts of the economy this year are struggling and probably will continue. And they repeatedly, I've heard them talk about how those are the times where their business has actually grown. So we have a greater opportunity now than ever before. And then taxes. I'm not a CPA, I'm not an accountant, so I'm not giving tax advice. But those of you who are business owners of other businesses or who have had your Shaklee business for a period of time, you know that there are tax benefits that are potentially there for you, for your family, with having a home-based business. And as it grows, having a business. And so I just wanted to share these things so that we can all be confident and be reminded this year as we go into 2021 that we're not only in a position to lead a health revolution, but to revolutionize people's financial well-being, okay? And the more reading and the more studying we do in my industry, the more we see the crossover and the overlap between health and wealth, okay? And again, we're not talking wealth about like, hey, massive house, all the car. We're talking about wealth that's being built to provide and create income needed for life, okay? And so we have the ability not just to lead a health revolution, which we absolutely can and will continue doing because of the power of what Shaklee brings to the table for us, but we have the ability to revolutionize people's financial well-being as well. And there's crossover all over the place between those two things of health and wealth. And so this just hopefully gives us a big picture of the position we're in to do a full job, the full job of helping people with their life, health being a part, the wealth piece being another. And I just think it's a great thing for us to go into 2021 with that top of mind, understanding the power that we have in multiple areas to help people. So
awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, I hope that was inspiring in a different way than we normally get to hear. I am always appreciative when Ryan shares his insight and knowledge around that, because I do think it gives us such a different perspective on how we can serve people. So before we hear from our first speaker, I just wanted to tell you our goals for today, for you guys, and for ourselves. But we want you to leave today being inspired, but inspired to action. Not just like filled up with some good ideas and feel good, but inspire you to act and to really get out there and change not only your life, but other people's lives. And we want to do more good. Like, we have done so much good this year as a team, and we want to do more good. Hopefully you have seen our new business group, Empowered to Fuel a Movement. We want you to feel empowered to fuel a movement. And that movement is movement. Movement is action. And so we want you to feel that way. I'm gonna post the link to that group in the event for this, so that if you're not in it, you're like, wait, what's going on? You can get in it. You can see what we're doing. We want to build confidence in you, in yourself, but also in our business and what we're doing here. And I hope what Ryan shared about how you can help other people really did that. And we want you to leave today in a time where things are just kind of weird and different, that we want you to be excited about the future. Excited about the future, about your future, and about the future that you can help create for other people through, I love what you said, through a health revolution, but also by revolutionizing people's financial well-being. And I hope that that excites you. Now, I am super privileged. Ryan and I are super privileged to introduce our first speaker. I met Julie Veenstra in 2015 at a Shaklee event, and have just always resonated with her heart and her passion and her drive. And if you hear her story, she is just a warrior who believes in doing good. I mean, she resonates with the values and culture of our team so much. And I was so excited to hear from her at the global conference. Hopefully you guys all were able to listen to that as one of the newest master coordinators in Shaklee. And I am so excited for you to get to hear from her and to be able to hear just her wisdom and just some inspiration from her. So I'm going to see, let's get her on the spotlight here. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Julie, for being with us. Wait, hang on, Julie, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute my audio. There we are, I'm good.
Great.
So I just said the most fabulous things, but anyways, I just want to say thank you, Ryan, for sharing that, what you shared, because I'm going to steal some of that for my team. Because I love what you said there about it might not be full-time income right now. I'm going to add to that, but it's going to be long-term income. Because I've had so many people who say they got started, they were all, enthusiastic, and one thing that I'll be saying today in my talk is that enthusiasm is common, but endurance is rare. And so somebody kept on, she got started and then she stopped, got distracted, like unintentional distractions, and she got in touch with me later and she said, it's kind of funny. I'm still getting checks from Shaklee, even though I'm not doing anything. And I'm like, well, imagine what would have happened if you would have had endurance, right? So it's pretty amazing what we can build. So what I'm going to just do here is share my screen, and hopefully this works. Slideshow from beginning. Okay, so can you all see my screen? Yes? Okay. So my story, I'm going to very briefly run down my story because I know you have some awesome training you want to get to today, and most of you have already heard my story, but I just want to share it in light of having grit. And I just really feel like we're going to need an awful lot of that moving forward into 2021. And so my story really started in 1997. I mean, my health story started the moment I was born. I had health issues as a baby, and you know, my mom has always been trying to fight for my health. So for me, my story really started with health. And in 1997, that's when we found Shaklee, and we found it was a missing piece of the puzzle for me for rebuilding my health. So that's where it all began. And I was dragged into it kind of kicking and screaming because my mom made me try it. And I'm like, it's the same as all the other stuff. I was hugely skeptical. And so I really advocate for the skeptics. And I'm always saying, don't give up on them. Don't ever just, if someone gives you a no, don't write them off. We call it doing relationship deposits. Keep doing relationship deposits. Keep checking in. Make sure that they know they can trust you. Because a lot of people, when they're saying no to you, it's not that they're saying no to you or to Shaklee. They're saying no because they're afraid. They don't know. They have all their own little skeletons going on. So always be ready to meet people where they're at. And I'm very grateful that Martha Wilmore was willing to meet me where I was at. So she shared with me about the products. I had a great health transformation. And the problem was, though, I was also in an unstable marriage. I just had my little guy, Nathan, and we had no money. We had lots of debt. And I couldn't afford the stuff that I needed. But I was still a hard no to the business. I said, there's no way I want to get involved in this scam thing. And there's no way that I wanted to, put myself out there emotionally. I loved helping people. I really wanted a purpose, but emotionally, I was not at a place where I wanted to put myself out there. So but the why started to change. And that's the other thing I keep saying to my team is be careful because, if you write somebody off, you never know when their situation changes, when their why changes. And edging closer to 2002, my why was changing huge because all of a sudden, 2002, I was a single mom and I had to self-support myself and my son. And I didn't have a career. I was a hairdresser. I had started college, university, but I hadn't had to finish. There's all these different unfinished things. And so at 2002, I became a single mom. Here's where I think God really stepped in because I said no to the business, but I loved what the product did for me. And I was sharing that with other people. I was just passionate about sharing what it did for me for health. Because of doing that, I accidentally did the business and I earned a car and I had enough income to go out and start paying for my own mortgage on my own house. That I think is pretty flippin' amazing. And I just love that part of my story because I always say that Shaklee was the best plan B that I never knew that I needed. It helped me finish things off and it helped me start fresh. It helped me finish my university. It helped me buy my first home. It gave me options that I did not know that I would need. So I love what Ryan was saying, really plant that seed with people where this can give you options. It might not be, something you thought you would be doing, but we can do good. I love how your motto is do good, right? So this was a really, really big thing for me, but I still wasn't sold on the business. And I loved sharing the products. And this is where I really want to drive home the point that you need to be rowing both oars, okay? So you need to be sharing the products, yes, but always share that business, share that opportunity. Because if I wasn't shared that full opportunity, I don't know what would have happened. I might not have been financially where we are now. So I did love sharing the products. I was going out, and I gave up my weekends. I was willing to be that entrepreneur that did what I had to do now, so I wouldn't have to, so I could do more what I wanted to do later. So that was me. That was that entrepreneur. And one of the things that I love doing is I would give my weekends. I would work really hard, but I had kind of a little bit of short-term vision because I wasn't believing in business opportunities fully. This is why my growth was slow. I wasn't believing in myself that I could be a leader, but I believed that I knew the products. I believed that I could help people with health. That's as far as I let myself see the business at this point. But I was still doing good. I mean, My income was good. I was comfortable. I was working hard, but I wasn't working entirely smart because I wasn't duplicating, but I was working hard. And I was able to go and do, you see a picture there with me with a skill saw, and I was out in Haiti doing some mission trips. I was able to do a bunch of mission trips, and I loved it. Things are going really, really well. Things started to shift though about the business. I started earning things like Chairman's Retreat and different trips, and oh my goodness, what Shaklee has done is just totally expanded my view of life and what is possible. And the people that you meet in this, the community you get to be a part of, that's almost one of our best products is our community. It's just amazing. So China, seeing the Great Wall of China, being interviewed, who would have thought that I would be there? I was in Paris, cruises, standing right in front of Mona Lisa, just all these incredible trips. I've been on almost 20 different trips, all expenses paid with Shaklee. And this was me working hard, sort of believing in the business, but really believing in the company and who they are and the products. What would have happened if I would have believed in the business right away? What would have happened if I would have been sharing that business with everybody right away? And so I'm really encouraging everybody here on the call, get out there and share the business opportunity, because my life, what I was able to do was because somebody shared with me the opportunity, hey, if you help enough people be well, you can be well too. Just go do it. And so I did that, and it completely changed my life. And so this is my family now. I'm married to a tall, very big bearded farmer. And we have 3 littles together. We have 5 kids all together. And I also have a grandbaby. She's 2 years old now. So just absolutely love the fact that I can homeschool my kids. I have a very flexible life. And the income every year keeps on growing. It's just, I almost have to say I pinch myself because I can't believe the income level. So the other thing that I love about this is I was, again, options. So I'm able to homeschool my kids, flexible, totally flexible days. But we also invested our Shaklee income. So we have rental homes, and we have different areas that we've invested the income. I would never have been able to do that on hairdressing income. So just again, a phenomenal thing. So I encourage people to live each day and live it well. I don't do this so that we, hit the fountain of youth. I don't do this so I live forever, but I do this so that I can live well, and that I can live each day and live that day well. And I really drive home that point, especially now, because a lot of people are looking in the future and they're feeling like, oh, it's crazy, it's chaotic, I don't know what's going to happen. And so many people I'm talking to are stressed out. They're just weary. They just don't know which step to take next. And I'm like, don't worry about tomorrow. What do you want today? Just focus on making today well and do it well to your best of your ability. And we can change our story, but only if we change our day. Okay, so now I'm going to go a little bit quick through this one because I have to hop onto another team call too. But this is kind of where we get that grit from. So we really have to know who we are. So we have to really understand that we can't control everything, right? We can't control people, but we can control a response to people. And we can't control the weather, but we can control if we choose to dance in the rain. We can't control everything about what we are, like our height, the talents that you may have been born with, but we can control who we are. So and I'm just going to also say, if anyone has read the story, the book Grit, then you might have read this, but we can't control everything about who we are, but effort coupled with persistence. So it doesn't matter if you're not born with this talent. Some people are born with the ability to speak. Some people are born with natural charisma. But if you have a lot of effort and that's coupled with perseverance, that will beat talent 100% of the time, almost. It'll beat talent most of the time. So it's not about who you're born as, it's about who you live as. And so I used to start my goals with what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a master coordinator, but it's not until we determine who we want to be that we can grow into the what. So belief is part of that. You need to believe in who you are to become the what that you want to be. So number one takeaway is determine your who to get to your what. So after you know your who, you have to stick to it. Enthusiasm, like I said, is common, but endurance is extremely rare. So my upline leader, Bill Firth, often says that leaders do that one more thing. that one more call, that one more minute, or one more thing. They'll go one more step where others will quit. And Jeff Hill, he also says that we have to be focused on the long view. So we're easily preoccupied with that short view. And we behave as if that short view, like all the chaos or the distractions today, are what will determine our long view. But we need to live with that long view and focus and let that give perspective to our short view. So I always say, flip around your typical vision, and that will help you with endurance. I love this saying. Actually, I made this one up. I'm kind of proud of this one. Look at life with binoculars, not with magnifying glasses. And I love that one. It really resonates with me. So let's dive a little bit here into the concept of grit. So grit is about holding the same top level goal for a long time and being willing to adjust or remove your low level goals. And all of your low and mid level goals have to support that top goal. So how many unintentional, or maybe intentional, maybe you're procrastinating, how many of those distractions are you allowing to interfere with your progress to your top goal? So we'll do that when we aren't secure in our who. We'll feel silly about a post. We'll procrastinate because it's not perfect. And oh dear, what will people think? I do it all the time. We will allow the little red light stories or the lies to become the truth. And we'll allow that lie about not being good enough to become reality. Or maybe we feel we're not smart enough or pretty enough, or maybe we feel we're not good at sales. Well, newsflash, it's good. It's fine if you're not good at sales because it's not what we're about anyways. We're not about sales. We're about solutions, right? So what are my top goals? My top goal is to be a mom that encourages her kids to grow into who they have been created to be and to instill persistence, encourage grit, and an understanding of their purpose. I believe purpose is huge. Now that ties into my top goal as a Shaklee leader. My top goal, who do I want to be? Yes, I want to be a Shaklee leader. I want to be a senior master, but who do I want to be? I want to be a leader that encourages others to grow into who they have been created to be and to encourage persistence and grit and an understanding that they have value and purpose. I really want to instill in people that they have value, and I want people to really understand that, especially today. So always know what your non-negotiables are. So for me, those are like the guideposts that you're going to live by. And one of my non-negotiables is, in the morning, this is the time when I homeschool my kids. This is when I do schooling. These are certain non-negotiables. I will strip and shake every morning, right? There's my certain non-negotiables. The other one is not allowing outside influences or the internal ones to tarnish what's before me now. And I choose to live by seeing the gift. That's my principle, see the gift. Go forward, God, grit, and grace. And so those are kind of my non-negotiables. So that will guide every other goal in my life. So it's very important to have your principles, and also on the bottom there you see preferences. And preferences are kind of like they tie into your low-level goals. Those are more the things that make you feel good in the moment. And so often I will say we have to learn to live by principles, not preferences, because preferences is doing the thing that just feels good in the moment. It's flying by the seat of your pants. It's not really long-term vision. It's comfortable and fun. And that's good sometimes, but to live your life by that, it usually will interfere with you hitting your top goal. So again, grit is about holding that same top level goal for a long time. And again, being willing to adjust or remove the low level goals. So are you focused and are you intentional? Are your goals all aligned to reach your top level goal? So be the best you that you can be. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't look at what their goals are. Be the best that you can be, which means you need to be laser focused on who you are. So be very clear on who you are. So, and also, interestingly enough, the best way to grow your grit. So it is a good thing. You can grow your grit, which just means becoming more stubborn in the way that you want to be. And I loved this book. I think I loved it so much because it was the first time I read that being stubborn was a good thing. So I was like, yes, I'm onto something here. So being stubborn is good. I guess just means what you're stubborn in, right? So, and it's very good to grow your stubbornness, grow your grit, grow your tenacity, and instill that in other people. One way to do that is by choosing healthy low-level goals. So low-level habits, and stick to them. So if you're a runner or whatever, like train yourself to be diligent, and you can do that in your low level goals. So you're stripping the shake or whatever you have in your healthy habits daily, that will train your brain and help train you to become even more focused. So choosing healthy habits will help you become more stubborn in the way that you want to go, and surround yourself with the right community, which I really believe that you guys have done here. You guys have done a fabulous job of getting in the right community, and pass it on. The other thing I really encourage is just read the book. Angela Duckworth, Grit. It's an excellent book. I don't think I have any more slides. Oh, I do. I have one more. So people are going to really, really need our home-based solutions in 2021 for health and energy, immunity, and income. They're really going to need them. We've said it many times before, but maybe not as much as right now, but we have never been more relevant. People are weary, they're burned out, they're scared. They might say no at first because, again, they don't understand who we are, but just walk alongside them and help them understand they do have the ability. Add value to people's lives. And it doesn't always have to be about Shaklee. Just add value and do your relationship deposits, right? It's not always about Shaklee, make it about the other person. It's not about what they bring to you, it's about what you bring to them. So 2021, you're right, it doesn't roll off the tongue as easy as 2020, but 2021 is the year to be the light in other people's lives. So I'm just going to encourage everybody to go with God and go with grace and go with a boatload of grit. So that's everything I had planned to share with you today.
Julie, thank you so very much. Yeah, let's just give her a round of applause. That was incredible, Julie. Thank you so much for taking your time to be with our team and for sharing just your incredible story and your incredible passion and just your perspective. I am so blessed by hearing from you today. And hopefully you were able to catch a few of the messages of just people being grateful and that you've impacted them quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely I gleaned some great things from Ryan's talk too. So I will be definitely passing on some of his tips as well. So
yeah, please do reach out, and in fact, we can chat a little bit more on it. I'm glad to do it. So, and yeah,
Great.
Thanks so much, Julie. Really proud and grateful of what you've accomplished this last year. It's so good to have people growing into this level of leadership, and we're just excited for everyone on your team and this team that will continue to join us over the years ahead. Because of the kind of leadership that you're providing to your team and your willingness to share some of that with ours. So thank you so much. And I love that you have a bow hanging behind you. So
one of my favorite things to do.
That's awesome. Hey, Julie, we'll let you go.
Okay.
And then mention you got to hop on another call. So thank you for taking time with us.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Okay, thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we're going to jump ahead. We've got the privilege to hear from somebody who over the last, I don't know, year and a half now or so, we've been able to get to know really well, and that many of you on our team have gotten to know and heard from on many occasions. And that is VP of Sales, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think VP of Sales for all of Shaklee, Jeff Pearson. And we are super pumped to have him be able to spend some time with us this morning and just share some of his thoughts. One of the things we know have come to really appreciate about Jeff is that he brings his wealth of experience in this industry to helping guide and move things forward here at Shaklee for us, position us well in the industry. But he really loves Shaklee, and he really loves the people in Shaklee. And I think he really loves our team too. I don't want to speak for you, Jeff, but I think that would be true to say. Anyway, so help us welcome Jeff Pearson. Thanks for being on with us today.
Thanks for letting me join. And I really do. I mean, I get to talk to Harper and Ryan like every other week. We have a scheduled call, and it's just, I love talking about your team. And as I look around and I see all your faces, like, you guys are so good. Like, it's just amazing. You have such great leaders. And I just am so grateful that each and every one of you are here with, we're here with Shaklee. And, I actually am just grateful I jumped on and was able to hear Julie. That was good. Like, guys, her story is so powerful, and there's all kinds of stories happening like that all over the company and all over on your team especially. And it's just so fun. And I just really wanted to tell you my story a little bit, how I got into this industry. You know, I didn't get into the industry for the products or for the income that people can make. I got into it because I loved this aspect, this culture, and this culture of personal development, this culture of helping people get better and stronger and grow. And there's not a lot of companies that, or other areas where you can get that. So I just love that aspect of it, where people come together, they share their stories, they share, you know, their feelings, their beliefs, and they help build each other up. And I just love that. So I just, as I look at my career, which has been in this industry, and if I look and think about the successes I've had, I want to tell you kind of what my motto is. I heard that yours was do good, and I love that. So my philosophy is, my goal is to make my interactions with people, my goal is to make them feel better about themselves. That's my goal. Because I really believe that everything we do in this business and life is all about confidence. And if we can help people feel better about themselves and gain a little bit more confidence, confidence leads to action. So that's really what you know, as I look back on my career, I don't feel like I'm very smart. I don't think I'm sharp, articulate. I don't have a lot. But one thing I have done and made a point to do is try to make people feel good about themselves and build confidence. And I've had a decent career. So that's my, you know, it's weird. I don't have some strong skill. I'm not like, I don't know, I'm not like this amazing salesperson or anything. I try to build confidence in people. My first big job in the industry was actually trying to get a job working with Jeff Hill, who, you know, is now here with us at Shaklee. And they asked me, and he does this, they asked me what my superpower was. And my superpower, I told them, was I see value in other people. So, and as I go back, don't ever interview with Jeff Hill. I'll tell you why, because he does this thing, and I thought it was just me, but after getting hired and working for him, I realized he does this to a lot of people. But we get done with the interview and he's like, Jeff, you didn't give me enough. Like, I just don't know. You need to give me more. So I want you to go home and like come back with a better response. Like, I just don't think that's enough. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, you want me to go home and do homework? And so, but I did. I know I was going out of town, so I went home and I did some thought about it, and I called and left him this message. And anyways, as I come back and I asked him why I was hired, and I was talking to actually one of his top guys at the time, and he said, well, the biggest thing that stuck out to us is when you said that your superpower is seeing value in other people, which I think that's weird. That's a weird superpower. So I just love this industry, and I love this. And I say it all the time. My wife, I wish she was a part of a network marketing company or a team like this, you know, where she could get this kind of community. People will come for the products, they're going to come for the income, but they will not leave because of this community that you guys have built. So big shout out to the, you know, Harper, Ryan, you know, and all the other leaders on the team. I'm not going to start naming names because I'll leave people off. It's just, there's so many great people. You've created a great culture, and one, if not the best, one of the best cultures in Shaklee. And I would feel very grateful if I was all of you to be a part of this community. So, guys, it's been a hard year. Really. I mean, if you look back, it's been a tough year for everyone in different ways. And I just want to ask, and if you guys can give me a comment on this, like, how many of you feel like you've grown in some way this year? Now, I didn't say rank advance. I didn't say earn more money. If you've grown, drop a yes in the comments, because I feel like as we look back on this year, I think we're going to look back and say this is the year of growth in a lot of different areas, and areas that we really weren't expecting. And I mean, I'm looking back and I'm so grateful for this past year for a lot of weird reasons that I won't share, but the biggest one is the last 5 years of my life, I've been on the road almost every week, and being able to be home and stuck at home has been the biggest blessing. So we're sick of this social distancing. and things, but being able to be around my family has been a huge blessing. And there's all kinds of other blessings. So, I mean, and you see all the people that have said, yes, this has been a year of growth. So I just, you know, to recognize that, because I don't know if everyone can say that. And so if this is a year where you got a little bit better, and if you saw growth in your business, even better. And really, this is not a race. This is the beauty of Shaklee is the fact that it's been around forever and it's not going away. So what's the rush? I mean, so many people are like, I'm not at master coordinator today, so I must suck. Like, really? Today? I mean, it takes time, right? So you know, there's ups and downs in the business. And if you're taking a step forward every single day, you should be so proud of that. And I think I probably shared this with you, maybe I've shared this with you before, but I always go back to this example. And I know Julie talked about not comparing yourself to other people. And it's so important, especially on a team like this, where you're so talented, all of you, and you all come from different backgrounds. The story I always tell is about a leader that joined a company, and in the first day this person started, they reached the rank of a key coordinator. Okay, now this is not at Shaklee, this is at a different place, right? So about that rank, first day this person started, or first month, they hit the rank of key, that level. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, this person built this business in 1 month to key. How, that is crazy. How do they do that? And they keep thinking like, you know, that this person built the business in 1 month. And the reality is that's not true. This person had been building her business for years and years and years. So what she was a big YouTube vlogger, or whatever you ever call them. She had a huge channel. So the first day she started, she had a huge following that she had built trust with over time, over years. And so once she started to promote those products, people jumped on. So, you know, we don't know people's backgrounds. We don't know where they've been. We don't know, you know, their experiences. So, you know, don't compare yourself, and just run your own race. And the goal is take a step forward every single day. Sorry, I wasn't planning on talking about that. I just wanted to give you an update on the company and just tell you how awesome it is right now. Like, we are growing by double digits. We're growing by double digits in sponsoring, sales. It's just so exciting. And we're winning in this tough environment. And there's no question why. I mean, people need what we have. Like, we are so lucky to be in this industry and have these products at this time that everybody is desperate for. And not only do they want our products, they want our opportunity even more. And it's just so fun to be able to help so many people at this time. So I hope you're having fun. I hope you feel so super grateful for where you're at. And man, it's a good time to be a part of Shaklee. And as I look around the industry, there's not a lot of companies in the same situation we're in. And it's funny, I live in Utah, and in Utah, there's about 10,000, maybe that's not enough. There's a ton of companies in our industry all over the place, right? So we're all kind of well connected and know each other. And guys, I'm getting calls constantly about Shaklee. Like, what are you guys doing? Because they're seeing the branding, they're seeing personalization, they're seeing the energy and momentum. When we launched the app, there was a company that we partnered with to create the app. They put this billboard on the highway, right? And so it says Shaklee and this partnership or whatever. And so I'm getting all these calls, and people are they're watching and they're paying attention, and they know what's going on, and they are just jealous of the things that we have. So I just want you to know where we're getting a ton of attention. People are watching. And I share this with you because I think it's so important for each and every one of us to know people want what we have. They really do. And if there's any hesitation to share, there shouldn't be. And these are guys that are reaching out that have, with probably bigger companies. They see it and they're jealous. I'm getting a lot of questions about Meology too. I just want you guys to know that's what a lot of these conversations are about, because they know how hard it is to do personalization. It's so hard. And it takes a big investment. It takes a lot of sharp people. It's not easy to do. And I don't think a lot of companies are willing to make that investment. They're going to have to if they want to play in this space. They're going to have to. Everything's personalized these days. But Meology is grabbing the attention. So I share that with you because I think it's important for you guys to know that it stands out to other people. And you guys understand all the products. You've been around it for a long time. You know how to do the personalization for people as you interact. But as new people come in, Meology will make it easier for them. And then the other thing I wanted to share is there's a lot of these companies in our industry that aren't doing well, which means that there's a lot of people that are trying to build businesses like you are all throughout the industry that are looking for a better, more stable home. Now, I don't think that you should be thinking every day, how do I go talk to people that are at other companies? That's not what I'm recommending, but what I'm recommending is be in the conversation, be part of that conversation, network, interact with other people in your industry, learn from them, be in the conversation and put yourself in those situations so that when people are looking for the home, which is Shaklee, a stable home, people are desperate for that. Be in the conversation. There's nothing, it's nice to get some of those leaders that have a little bit of experience. This year, our focus is, if you're on the broadcast, you heard us talk a lot about 2-in-1. And we really try to align everything within our launches this January around 2-in-1. And really, it's not about the 2, it's about the 1. It's about having the conversations around the opportunity. It's around finding those high level, those quality leaders. And the reason why we do that, I have 4 kids. I see my wife every single day, how hard it is to take care of 4 kids. She has 0 time. When you bring in somebody, and I'm using Ryan's term, qualified distributor, these skilled leaders that come in, these distributors that know what they're doing, or even if they don't, when you bring in distributors, they make your job easier. They help carry the load. And that's the whole idea. If you want to build a great residual business, you need some great leaders to help carry the load with you. I don't have a ton of time. I know my time's probably up, but I just want to share a couple things. And I'm sorry if I've ever shared this with you before, but I think it's so important. Finding distributors is really important. And I look at it just like hiring people. If you're going to hire quality people to come, if I'm hiring somebody that's, I feel like is a quality person to come work for Shaklee, I'm doing some things, right? First, I'm identifying what the role is. So identify, obviously you guys know what the job of a distributor is, but then I'm listing out the things, the qualities, skills, abilities that this person needs to have, okay? That I'm looking for in that person. I'm not going to list them off, but obviously there's some key things I want to look for in an employee. And then what do? So I identify, I know what this person looks like. Then I don't go post it on a job board. That's not how I recruit people. I don't hope that they're going to come to me. What I do is I go search for those people that have the skills, talents, abilities that I want on my team, because it's my choice. I just think that that's so important as you're looking for people to join your team. It's your choice, and you get to work with the people you want to work with. And I would make a list of the skills, talents, abilities that you want in a person. And they may have experience in this industry, they may not. But know who that person is. And then when you go and talk to them, the conversation's awesome. Think about it. Harper, I know that you are, this is how I feel like this conversation will go. Harper, I've been watching you. I know that you are super talented. You're a great leader. You have a way to really help. You really love helping people. There's all these things that are great about you. I would love to partner with you. You know, if you were to approach someone pointing out all the good things that you see in them and then ask them to partner with you, they may still say no, but I can promise you that every day after that, they're going to watch you. They're going to watch your moves. They're going to watch everything you post. They're going to watch everything you talk about. And that time will come. So that's done with that topic. But 2-in-1, make that a target. Everything aligns around it. Last thing, and I'm sorry I'm going long. And Harper, if you want me to stop, just do this. I'm not going to be offended. I have to speak at this event outside of work. And I was just talking with my parents last night about this experience. And again, I talk a lot and to a lot of different groups. So if I repeat myself, I'm sorry. But Florence Chadwick, she's a long distance swimmer. Any of you heard of her? A long time ago. Like, I should probably have the dates, but long distance swimmer. She was just known for swimming in large, bodies of water, long distances. So she wanted to swim from the Catalina Island to the California coast, 26 miles, I believe. Okay. She's not driving, because I get tired driving 26 miles. She wasn't riding a bike. She was swimming on purpose. And so her story is this. She jumps in the water. The water's cold. You guys have been in that water. It's terrible. I don't know. I mean, Hawaii's water is beautiful and warm. I prefer that. So she's swimming. And part of the setup is she has a couple boats following her. One's there with, her mom and support crew in case she gets cramps and needs to stop. And then there's another one there looking for sharks to protect her. Like sharks. This is not just, that's crazy. Why is she doing this? Like, I tell the story, I'm like, why? On purpose. So she's swimming and she's about 15 hours into her swim. 15 hours into her swim. And this thick fog comes in. And she's obviously swimming towards the shoreline that she can see, but then this fog comes in. And it made it very difficult for her to see the shore. And her mom's in the boat saying, "You got this, keep going." She's starting to get these feelings like, I can't do it. And the support team's still there trying to cheer her on. Obviously, there's people here protecting her from the sharks still, and she's swimming and swimming. She gets to the point where she says, "I can't do it anymore." And she stops. 15 hours into it, with and she gets into the boat. They get her wrapped up in a blanket, there with her mom. And of course, you should be proud. You're in the water for 15 hours. You should be proud of yourself. And as she looks towards the shoreline, the fog kind of parts and she can see that she was a half mile from the shore. Now, first of all, it's a tough thing to do. And I don't know how many people have ever made that swim. But I know she was super frustrated because she was so close. And as she was being interviewed after, she told the reporter, she said, "The reason why I stopped is that I lost sight of the shoreline." Right? Now this does have a happy ending. She decided to do it again and did it and was successful. But I love this example because it's so easy in our business and in life when the fog comes in and you get, you're tired, you're overworked, sharks are swimming around you, the waters are rough, it gets dark. It's very easy to throw in the towel and lose sight of really where you're going. So now all of you guys have different whys. You have different things that you're working for. It's not because you want to help people. There's something inside that's really driving you to do this business. Helping people is part of it. And we obviously have great teams around you, supporting you. They're cheering you on, which is why this team is so great. You have a lot of great people cheering you on. As we talk about this year, first of all, don't ever lose sight of what you're doing, why you're doing this business. Those kids that you're holding, even though they're screaming in the other room at you, trying to get you to go take them to the bathroom. I get that all day. I'm like Roger Barnett. Just wait 1 second. She needs to go to the bathroom. It's always a weird conversation, but you know, don't forget those reasons why you're doing it. And I share this also because when you think about 2-in-1, 2-in-1 is not just about 2 members and 1 distributors. It's not. It's about keeping you in line with that shore. It's keeping you going towards what you're trying to accomplish. It's teaching you those, keeping you focused, consistently focused on those things that will lead to the best results in your business. That's why they're there. They're not there for the Apple Watch. They're not there for the extra money, which these things are all great. It's there to give you a stable organization and lead you toward the real reason why you're doing this business. I just want you guys to know how much we appreciate you, and we're here for you, and we want to see you succeed, and totally believe in each and every one of you. And for the new leaders that I hear about all the time on your team, I mean, we know about all the rock stars, but there's a lot of brand new leaders on the team. I just want to say thank you and congratulations. If you advance in your business this year, I mean, the rest is going to be easy. So just congratulations, thank you, and just appreciate all of your leadership and honestly, this team culture, it's amazing. So thanks, Harper and Ryan, for letting me jump on for a minute.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Hey, have a great rest of your day. And I just want to say, man, the comments, I think, clearly indicate that mission accomplished for what you're going after, which is to instill confidence in people. And thank you for doing what you do to help create confidence on our part in Shaklee and what's going on in Shaklee as a whole. So we super appreciate that. And we will continue to respond to that by taking action and figuring out, what is the next best thing? What is the next best action that we can take to grow our businesses personally and invite others to join us. I love what you said about just the stability that Shaklee creates within a home, within a family, within a life. And we know that to be true. The people on this call have seen that to be true, and we want to expand that. Yeah, so thanks, man. We really appreciate it.
Thanks,
Always
guys.
appreciate connecting with you, man. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much. And we're so grateful for Shaklee corporate support of our team. It is really huge. And that's like a whole nother level of confidence that I hope that you all can have. We are going to take a short 2-minute break, just a short 2 minutes. And so that, get your water, your tea, whatever you need to do, but hurry back. It's almost 10:11. So at 10:13, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to hear from Kristen Jakubowski. So it is going to be awesome. Make sure you're back in 2 minutes. We'll see you soon. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. And it's awesome to see people participating in the chat. So we love that. We love seeing comments and energy, and that energy is really important. And so it's really great. So hopefully you have it on so you can see the chat too, and you can just feel the energy from our team. So we are so excited, and I don't want to go do too big of an introduction because you are all familiar with Kristen Jakubowski, and she just has an incredible story, and I am so excited about what she is going to share with you all today. So Kristen.
Good morning.
Awesome.
I am so thrilled that you have asked me to share a little bit more about my story. And the reason is because it's exactly what Jeff kind of, talked about, this idea that when you see a successful person, I have in the past, let's just talk about me. I have gone like, oh my gosh, how did they do it? Why did that happen so fast? Oh my gosh, they're so lucky. And I think it's important that we share what's happening behind the scenes of some of these success stories, right? And so you guys are aware that I had a pretty successful 2020, and we'll talk about that in a second, but that didn't start in 2020. That started in 2019. And for the record, 2019 was not a real banner year for me. It was a great year. It was fine, but it wasn't one of those years that, I'll look back on super like, wow, that was, such a, I crushing goals that year. It wasn't happening. And I think that when I met with Harper in December of 2019, I came to the table with kind of a blank notepad. And I said, okay, remember when we set goals like back in 2016? And then I had that really cool year in 2017. And I said, let's do that again. And we did. And the things that we wrote down were not rocket science. They were basically, in fact, I still have a little post-it note here that were the highlights, and I keep it right by my desk because it was really just focusing down, right? On what I think, Harper, we did like the top 3 things you're going to focus on. And some of those were team related. Some of those were PGV related. Some of those were just straight up where we're going to spend our time. Okay. And so quickly after that meeting happened, we, in fact, it was this week last year, because my pictures just came up, we had the Sheckley corporate New Year kickoff call. And I remember sitting there, and when they announced 20K in 2020, my mouth like dropped open, because everything that I had put on the paper and that Harper and I had brainstormed where my focuses were going to be, all of those aligned perfectly with these rewards that Sheckley had set up in the 20K in 2020 program. So imagine my delight when I realized that 2020 had the possibility of being this amazing year. And so I was ready to rock it. I had such excitement, and I had such, just pure joy going into 2020, knowing this was going to be my year. And then March 13th happened. Is that a big date for anybody else? Just me? Yeah, it should be all of us, because that's pretty much when we realized we were facing a national pandemic. And both of my kids came home from school. There went my ability to go to the gym, which is kind of my ritual, my safe space. I lost the ability to be home by myself with focused work time. I lost the ability to meet with people, which is a huge way that I grow my business, physically meeting with people. My husband came home from his job, so there was not even enough workspace in the house that we live in for all of us to be as productive as we needed to be. Tensions were high. Faith was pretty low. And we were all nervous about what was going to be happening. Let's face it, in my mind, Sheckley kind of went down on the priority list. And I think that happened for a lot of us because we were just trying to survive. But I had those goals written down. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm just going to do what I can do every day. And it's not going to be that focused, and it might be interrupted 1,000 times by people who need my help or who need meals 8 times a day. But I'm going to just keep focusing on the little things that I know will continue to keep my business where it's at. I kind of lost like even the excitement about where I was going. I'm like, let's just not make it dip, right? That was kind of where we were at. So then I had a walk with Christine, and this is how we process, her and I, outside of our heads. We just talk. And both of us realized we just got to keep moving. And I decided in 2019 that these were going to be my goals, my focus areas. And I thought, why stop now? And I felt very much like this was the one thing I had control over when so much of life was out of control. And so I just kept going. I worked a lot in my work times. I really had to dial down those work times because I was also, as most of you, schooling my kids from home, supporting my husband who is not used to being at home all day with us. And really my focus changed in other areas, but I had to keep those specific work times. And truthfully, once we got to leave our home and get into our RV and travel a little bit, things started to mellow out. And I noticed that Christine was making some changes. And I noticed that other teammates were coming to me like, I think I'm ready. And can you help me? And everyone's mindset started to shift on my team. And I think it was because this is a safe place. And this is a place where we know when everything else is kind of taking a turn, come back to Shaklee because it's rock solid. Like we were talking, the community, the company that we work for, everything is so rock solid. This is safe. And a lot of people just started to get their mindset shifted into, I'm gonna take advantage of this growth that we're seeing. And what was so interesting was that as the mindset improved on our team and we all started to come out of our funks and we all started to work together and rely on one another and rely on Shaklee and what they had offered to us far before the pandemic even happened, my team grew and grew and grew to the point that my OV grew by 10,000 this year. And my PGV doubled from where I was at prior to the pandemic. So not even a full year. This is all because I decided, and I had already had my plan in place far before these incidents that pulled the rug out from underneath us happened. And I urge you and I encourage you to meet with your upline and have that conversation. Put those non-negotiables down, like Julie was talking about. Figure out where your main focus points are, and everything else is noise and distraction. And when you're in your focused work times, those are the 3 things you're working on. And when you close that book at the end of the day, or when you close the computer to go be a teacher for your kids or be a support for your family or go to your job that's now getting somewhat back to normal, feel confident and comfort in the fact that this is something, you know where you're going. Your compass is pointed in the right direction because you took the time to decide. I really feel like there's no other way that we would have had such a great year if I hadn't done it prior to all the junk happening. Furthermore, something that I'm going to wrap up with this, something that I told Harper just right before the end of 2020 in December when we met. And I said, you know what's amazing to me? I said, with all the growth I've had and with all the success I had, all the great things that have happened this year and all the places we traveled to, I'm not exhausted. And there's a lot of times where we push for something, we push for growth, we push for, things to fit into our schedule that might be a little outside of our comfort zone. But if we can come out of that and feel fine and feel energized and feel ready to go for what's to come next, don't you think that we've really hit it? And I really attribute a lot of that to my team. It was a team effort. It was all of us rising up and agreeing to take on this challenge and keep our heads focused in the right direction. And in the end, we are entering into 2021. There we go. More energized and more excited and more aligned for even more growth and success.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kristen. That was incredible. And for those of you who are new to our team, I want to point something out that's really important, is that when she talked about they were able to get in their RV, that was another decision. There is a whole season of Kristen's business where her and her husband sat down and set some goals, and having an RV and traveling the country is part of that. So even just that piece was part of a decision. And I'm just so thankful, Kristen, for you and for you sharing just that part of deciding. So thank you so much. And it's been so amazing to see how that has played out this past year. And you mentioned Christine, and another person who has had incredible successful growth. And as we focus on really this 2-in-1, and we're really focusing again on that one, on bringing in new people. At the same time, we do not want to lose sight of how we serve our customers. And so Christine is just going to give some really important tools on how to take care of our customers in light of our focus on that one, where our heart still needs to be for everybody else. So thank you so much. Brand new executive coordinator, Christine Crapper.
Hey, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Harper. So just adding on to what Kristen was saying, I want you all to picture a waterfall and how a waterfall, who's been to a waterfall or seen a waterfall? Okay. It just pours into like a resting body of water. And so I want you to picture that. That's a symbol that I was talking to Kristen yesterday. It really resonates with both of us because that's what she was to me. And I know that's what Harper is to her. And so it's like, she did share her vision with me. The end of 2019, I remember we were sitting in this place where we went to a financial webinar thing, but she told me about this after she met with Harper. And I was like, wow, that is so great for her. And I am so excited for her. But when I saw the 20K in 2020 thing, I was like, I'm not even going to look at that. I mean, that's awesome. And I know it can happen for Kristen, but I'm not going to put that on my vision board. It seemed like too big of a dream for me. And so this was all pre-COVID too, you guys. So this was like end of December 2019. We went through COVID. I was a stress mess for March and April. And then Kristen and I went for a 4-mile walk, like she was talking about. And that is where my mind started to change. And so I just want you to think about, like, she was thinking about what could happen for me when I was not looking at it. And you guys, I am a dreamer and I like to look at big things and put them on my board, but this was something that seemed too big. And so on our walk, she realized that I could actually qualify for the 20K in 2020 because we had till December. And so we called Raquel. Who else calls Raquel when they have big questions like this? And she talked to us on our walk and told us, yes, this was possible. And so before I go into what I'm actually going to talk about today, I just wanted to tell you guys that don't wait like me until April. Like, do it right now. If it seems too big, that's because you need to step out, and it's important for us. That's like a step of growth. Like, we're all scared and we all want to just scratch it out and not put it on there because it seems too big. But let me tell you that I did start doing that in April, even though it seemed way out of reach and too big. And one step at a time, one right action at a time. I did not have the people on my team yet. The people who came to our team joined in April, May, June, and October. And in December, we hit the 20K in 2020. Now, to earn the bonus, of course, you have to hold it for 4 months, but we hit the goal, guys. The goal that did not even seem possible enough to put on my vision board. So I just want to encourage you to do that, because you'll never find the people if you're not willing to put the goal up and put the open spaces up on your vision board. And I know we're going to be doing that as a team on Monday night. And so I just want to encourage you to have the courage to write it down, even when it seems too big. Number 2, be the leader like Kristen, who is a waterfall to your team, who is pouring life into them, even when they don't think any of it can happen, and invest the time to fill them up and to fill them up with your heart space so they can find their heart space, because that is what Kristen did for me. And then be sure to note that what I'm going to talk about, it all starts with the actions, with the action and the vital behaviors and the customer care. Everything comes from that. Committing to take care of your people to the very best of your ability from the beginning. The people that you invest in will be your lifelong customers, or they will be your lifelong teammates and your partners. So every single thing we do, and Julie Veenstra was talking about the low-level behaviors that you're willing to change and the medium behaviors. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. We have this big picture up on top and the vision and the dream, and that's what your top thing is, the things that will never change, and then these things that are flexible on the bottom, right? And so your habits will determine everything that happens, these things that you do on a regular basis. And so I just want you to know that that's how this customer care and these actions that we're going to do is how everything comes. Okay. So the best part is we have a system for this. Everyone raise your hand if you're excited for that. So we have a system for customer care. That's what I'm going to talk to you about. Your vital behaviors, your customer care. You don't have to guess at how to do this. You just need to do it every day. or for a few hours on Saturday, or Tuesdays and Thursdays. It depends what works into your life, right? You got to find your flow, but you have to stick with your flow. You can't stop. Okay, so here we go. You can rest for a day if you need to. I mean, everyone needs some rest. Okay, so the first thing is the conversation, the vital behaviors. Okay, everyone's been in their app, right? So if you have not been through your app and been learning about the vital behaviors, inviting, having the conversation, following up, taking care of people, you must have the conversation. You cannot serve someone through a series of text messages. You can start the conversation there. You cannot build a relationship through text messages. You cannot do the serving we need to do. So what I want to tell you is, no matter who you are, master coordinator, director, brand new distributor, we all are doing the same things, the same behaviors every day. You have to have the conversations. You cannot just send someone to your website. I mean, come on, I guess I could say I probably have never done that. I like to sponsor them because I can actually serve them best that way. And I will tell you, people stick around because I have the conversation. I like to sponsor them in, make sure everything is done correctly. And it saves you some trouble later, actually, for having to fix things. So I make sure everything's done right. So this is what you say. You start a text message. They respond on your post. You say, thank you for responding. Is there anything you want to know about? And they say, hey, yes, I really want to know about this cleanse thing. The first thing you do is you say, hey, can you give me 5 minutes on the phone? Very few people will say no to that. Now, in the beginning, I was scared to do this sometimes because people may have balked it in the beginning, but you cannot serve them well if you don't talk to them. So you can do it on voice messenger if you really need to, but sooner or later, every conversation needs to move to a video chat, a Zoom, a phone call. So the faster you do it, the more time you save yourself and the better you actually build the relationship with the person. You're showing them that you're a professional. It professionalizes what you do. When you're willing to go back and forth in a text message, I think it almost devalues what we do because they see that we're just willing to halfway do it. So I'm telling you that the faster you do that, the better the call goes. And actually, I've noticed that the faster people will decide when I do that. This is where you're going to ask them questions about their sleep, their stress, depending, you find out about their financial situation. You can actually delve down deeper to see if the business opportunity is something you want to share right then and there, right? And so you hear the real needs that they have. And then you get the full picture, and then you educate them and you serve them. And most people will sponsor within a few conversations. Sometimes it's the first one because they've been watching you for a while on social. So the number one is the conversation. Okay, and we have a lot of trainings on this too. The closing, meet with your upline to learn how to close efficiently, but we're all here to help. Okay, number two, member benefits appointment. Does anybody do those? Okay, if you have not done them with any of your people, it's okay. It's a member update appointment for the new year to find out where they're at, to find out what they're doing and how you can serve them and what their needs are. So this is really important. Now, I know Harper does this on day 21, about 3 weeks in, right? So when you close with them and they order their stuff, you set up that appointment right away. You always have the next conversation set up. That also professionalizes what you do because you're showing them, hey, I'm going to walk you through this, whether they're doing the cleanse or the prove it, you're helping them with that, right? And then it's like, we're going to have this conversation. You have a notebook next to your bed for the next 3 weeks and you're writing down what's changing. That's why we want them to do the prove it, right? Because they'll have the most changes that way. But if they're just doing meology or however they're doing it, get them to realize they're going to notice some changes and you're going to talk about it in 2 to 3 weeks. So there it is. Very important. You can also practice this, role play this with your power partners or your upline. Power partners are like other people that you work with on our team or other teams. So really, really important. That's number two. Number three, continued engagement. So you're educating them and serving them throughout their first month. If they're not doing the prove it, because you have way more check-ins when they're doing the prove it and the cleanse, right? You're at least checking in with them once a week on their first month and helping them and doing that member benefits appointment, right? And then after that, you want to check in with people once a month. Inviting them to our groups, like the ATM group that we're launching. That's a great way to start getting them to learn our business and our stories and to know what we do faster. You add them, tag them, and then you have your conversation, right? But you're checking in once a month. That can be text message. So, but sometimes if they have a question, you get them on the phone. 5 minutes of your time, right? So this is where you can show them the loyalty program, how to earn things for free. Never let a time like that go by where you're not showing them, oh my goodness, like when I do an order for somebody, I just got you $5 with the loyalty program. And we did this or whatever, the free shipping, or show them all of these things, right? And you're showing them that you're serving them throughout, inviting them to things of value, adding value. And then at the end of the month, when you're trying to reach a goal and you reach out with a special, it doesn't feel icky. It feels really, really good because you've been serving them and educating them. And now you're offering them, oh my goodness, we have free shipping these last 3 days. Do you want to take a look at it? It feels good. It doesn't feel like you're asking for a sale. It feels like you're offering value. Okay, number 4. This is a big one that we're all, I know on my team, we're really working on this. Getting to know who they know. Okay, this is important. It's a really big skill set to start working on. It doesn't take a lot of work. You just got to focus on it, right? So this is going to be on my vision board, me and my team working on getting to know who they know. So you're asking, is there anyone else in your life who's concerned about immunity or, you know, would really benefit from this Prove It challenge or would like to take the meology assessment? You know, I'd love to send you a sample pack of my favorite things if you ask 5 of your friends to take the meology assessment. Or that could be a pop-up, right? Get them on Zoom for 10 minutes and have everyone take the meology assessment, right? So it can be, I think we build these pop-up things up in our head to be more complicated than they actually are. It's literally serving people and getting them a resource. So one-on-one calls and Zooms are great too. I just find that when you do this system that I'm telling you about, people are willing to let you know who they know faster because they trust you and they see that you're professional and they want their people to be helped by you because they know that you will help them and take good care of them. So that's huge. And then also giving the Prove It challenge, whether you give the $25 referral bonus to people or you do some kind of other thank you, doing that right away, people just keep referring people to you. So that's huge for getting to know who they know. And I know like Jennifer Glacken and a lot of other leaders, they say, get to know who they know before they go. That's huge because one person that you help can lead you to 10 people. And then if they leave or whatever they decide to do, look, you've just met 10 new people that you would have never known. So it makes your actions have exponential effect versus adding effect. I'm teaching my daughter exponents right now, right? So instead of just adding, right? Oh, I help this person, I help this person. Now I help this person times 10 and this person times 10, and you're going to see huge growth in your business by getting to know who they know. So I think that's a big one. And then finally, 5 is they see how easy it is to help people. They're watching you do it. Now, most of us will put those people they brought underneath them, right? Barb taught me this too. I mean, all of us kind of focus on this. You put their friends underneath them and they see, oh my goodness, this is so easy and it's all service and it's not sales traditionally and I can do this, and they see what we actually do, and that is where you will find some of your very best lifelong business partners and friends. And so I just want to encourage you guys to focus on that system and those 5 things in your actions, and all the good things will come. Thanks, Harper.
Awesome. Christine, that was gold. Thank you so much for sharing that with us and for giving us some really practical tips and how this I love how you tied in what Julie said, and that this like habit, this regular habit that it kind of feels like it's on one of those lower sections, that continues to build our business, and how it does tie into building new distributors. And I think one of the things that, and I love what you shared in the beginning too. I'm so glad you added that. But 2 things.
Sorry, that was an add-on that I was like, I gotta say this part.
Good decision, good leadership decision, because that was, so I love what you said, and I'm going to hit on this later too, but I just want to hit on it right now. Don't wait till April to put your big things out there. That was huge. Do it today. The other thing was that when you do this system, like, they will let you know who they know because they trust you. And that is so true of what you have built and your success. And I think that these 5 tips are just such awesome practical advice for everybody to do that builds this business. And this was just awesome. Thank you so much, Christine. The next thing that we're going to hear from Selena from corporate, who does some incredible social media training. She was going to be with us live, but for Christmas, she was surprised with a trip to Mexico by her husband. So she put together a great recording for us. And then I'm going to post some resources that she shared with us too, because I do think that no matter what we feel about social media, right now, especially when we are not as connected with other people in different ways, that social media is a really incredible platform for us, and how to use it well. And so I'm going to go ahead and share her video. Let's see. All right. You can all just give me a thumbs up when I start it and you can hear it, just to make sure we're working. Were you guys able to hear her talking? You were not.
Good.
Okay.
Here. I'm Selena Alger, and I am the Director of Business Training here at Shaklee. And I was so excited when Harper invited me to be part of the call so that I could be here and share with you guys some tips and tricks on rebooting and resetting your social media this year. We know that we've let out with a lot of really cool incentives and a lot of great offers to get people interested in becoming Shaklee distributors. Part of that is going to be you guys feeling comfortable and confident talking about our business and our products on social media. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So we're going to go through 5 easy ways to do this that you can use right away. The first, we have to lead out with authenticity. So I know there's a lot of different strategies out there for how to grow your audience or how to perform on social media. And a lot of them require you to do things that maybe don't feel like they really fit who you are. Maybe they want you to only take photos that are overly airbrushed and have really bright and light backgrounds. But if you live a life that's vibrant and full of color, or if you live a life that's full of kids and chaos, that might not be authentic to who you are. People are craving vulnerability and authenticity on social media. A lot of us are even probably feeling kind of burned out. It's been such a major source of connection over the last year that it also can lead to burnout. You're seeing a lot of backlash against people who over airbrush, over filter, who are constantly sharing too much or those kinds of things. So influencers are having to adapt and adjust to this. And you guys are probably starting off on a much easier foot because you're probably already sharing authentically about your life and family and the things that you care about. Remember, being you really is your superpower. 2, this is huge. You need to contribute. Don't just consume social media. So this is in here because a lot of the time we say, I'm spending so much time on social and I'm just not getting the results. And then when you start asking the questions, what are you doing with that time? The outcome might be because of how you're spending time on social media. So a few good ideas. Set some business hours for when you're going to post on social media so that it doesn't feel like it's this nagging thing that's like looming over you all day. So maybe that's first thing in the morning and last thing before bed at night. Or maybe you post all your stuff while you're dropping your kids off and you're waiting in a carpool line. That's okay. Limit it to those things so you know I will get it done and you don't have to have it nagging and looming on you all day. This also stops you from endlessly scrolling, because we've all been down those rabbit holes and suddenly you're looking at your high school boyfriend's new wife and you're like, how did I end up here? And it's because we just start scrolling and clicking, and the platforms are made to get you to spend more time in there. So if you fall and prey to that, don't feel bad. But setting time limits and setting work hours will help you. Most phones will even allow you to set a time limit on your apps. So if you've reached your 30 minutes a day of Instagram or 30 minutes a day of Facebook, that'll simply remind you that you set that as a personal goal. All right. First thing you want to do is create your posts. That's the most important thing you're doing on there, is your contribution. So go in there, and first thing you do is do your own content. Then go in and respond and engage. So that means, you're responding to direct messages, you're responding to people who've replied to your posts, you're responding to people who, answered your stories, and then you're going out and engaging with your audience on their posts. And when your time is up, say you give yourself an hour first thing in the morning, put the phone down and don't go back again until it's later in the day. This is especially important for stories. We feel like stories have to be posted real time to make them genuine or to make them feel like, they're happening in the moment. The great thing about it is they're just going to be there refreshed whenever someone goes in. So maybe post a batch in the morning, maybe you do a couple of them at lunch, and then you do a couple after dinner, and then put it away. That way you don't feel overwhelmed with how much time you're spending on your devices. This is going to be huge for all of you guys. You need to make the shift to talking about your business. I know this seems really scary, especially if maybe you've been timid even sharing the products on social media, and that's okay. We're going to go through some things that'll make it easier for you. And just know that everyone else here is in the same boat. So many of our amazing leaders are still nervous to talk openly about the business, partly because, they're not really sure how to do it. The first thing to remember is start with the end in mind. You are a business builder. You're a business builder, a business owner, an entrepreneur, and that's so amazing and exciting. You grow by helping more people start their own businesses. So one of your big goals should be using social media to attract new builders and new leaders. And you do that by talking authentically about how you're operating your business and what it's done for you and your lifestyle. We need to make that mental shift that if your goal is to qualify for all these cool incentives, for the Apple Watch, to be able to go on the trip, to earn the 21K in 21, that you need to be focusing on looking for other partners to come in and do the same thing. It'll be easier and easier over time as you start having success moments, as you start being able to feel confident in sharing what you've done with Shackley, to talk more openly about it on your social media feeds. You probably think to yourself, I don't really know what to say. And it feels maybe a little bit like you're bragging when you talk about these things. I have this conversation with our newest leaders and some of our most successful presidential masters, and they all say the same thing. They get kind of nervous that it feels boastful. It's not. The way you help more people is by helping them with a new opportunity, by helping them find products that they love. So talking about these things is not boastful. So just remember that. Here are some ideas of things you can do to talk about financial outcomes. Money is a topic that most people stray away from, even in their one-on-one conversations in their personal life. So it's no wonder we feel a little bit or a lot of bit awkward talking about things on social media. You don't have to go out there and say, this is how much money I made, or that. You can lead out with things that feel really accessible to other people. Some of our best stories are people saying, I used to worry about where I was getting gas money from, because sometimes between paychecks, it was really tough. And now that I'm with a company who pays out weekly bonuses, I never have to worry about that anymore. That's an authentic way to share a small win and to talk about your business without it feeling overwhelming or so far down the road that people can't relate to it. You could talk about things like being able to pay off a certain debt, or reaching a financial goal, or maybe you've been able to travel with Shackley in the past, being able to talk about how much you miss traveling and how much you love working for a company that helps you do that with your family at no cost to you. Maybe you got a free car. That's cool. If Shackley is covering your car payment, Talk about those things. Share how that's changed your life by being able to not have to worry about budgeting that in or making a savings account to save for that next vehicle. When we're talking about things like maybe you're just getting started, you could share what your big goal is for having your business, why you're doing this. If you're new or somewhere in the beginning, or even in the end of your journey with Shaklee, you've reached our top levels of leadership, you can still talk about how you overcame your fears. A lot of people who want to do this, they need that little nudge. So they go, oh my gosh, I can. They think about it, they want to, they're not sure if they can. So talk about how you overcame some of those really normal fears, like, I'm not a salesperson. I don't have a lot of time. I've never done this before. If you're addressing those concerns up front, it's going to be a lot easier to lead into some of those business conversations. The other thing that you could be talking about is just everyday things that lead back to business conversations. Reintroduce yourself to your community. This is something I do a couple times a year, just as followers come and go, you've been tagged in things, people are resharing your content, just saying who you are, why you're here, what you do. You could share a difficult moment you had in the last week and how you learned from it. Maybe you're someone who does daily affirmations, or you're part of the Miracle Morning Club. Sharing those things and how you're using them to better yourself and to lead those around you, to build your community and to build your business are really awesome ways to share everyday normal things that also relate back to your business. So those are some quick ideas. Because you guys are here on a Saturday investing in yourself, one of the cool things we'll send out after this call is a document of 100+ business prompts. So they're categorized so you can easily find different ideas. You can tweak them so they feel like you, they fit your messaging and your brand. But sometimes you just need someone giving you some ideas or pointers so you know how to get started. Okay, this is a really fun one. You need to set a clear message. So the fourth thing you can do this year is set a really clear message of who you are. So first, find your niche. Lead in to all the things that make you uniquely you. Sometimes we're nervous if we get a little too narrow in our scope that maybe we won't find the people we want to find. But here's the thing. If I'm someone who, okay, so this is my own personal experience. This last year, I got married and became a bonus mom overnight in the middle of a pandemic. So I went from living completely alone to having my husband and my 5-year-old stepson in my space all the time. The first thing I did was go out and find stepmom accounts, co-parenting accounts, all of these things to help me find my sanity. I am grateful that there are people out there who found their niche to talk about being a bonus mom, to talk about co-parenting and some of the challenges that happen when you're dealing with these things. People are looking for a niche. So maybe you're a vegan who also loves to do yoga. Lean into that. Maybe you're a businessman who's made it to the top of a career and is so sick of building someone else's business that you're venturing out on your own and you're investing in yourself. You will find people who need your journey and they need your message out there. You just have to put it out there and not be afraid of going into a niche. Once you've done that, become an expert. This one's really, really fun because if you found a niche that you're passionate about, then it's fun to become an expert. Take your audience along that journey. Maybe you're just starting out and you've decided that you want to be a life coach. Take them on the journey from you starting up, taking your classes, the things you're learning that are interesting in your personal development, how you're using them in your day-to-day life, and how you're going to use them to help other people as you learn and grow more. Maybe it's the first time you've ever planted a garden in your backyard and you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Take your audience from that journey of tilling your soil to figuring out what plants grow in your area, to planting them, watering, weeding them, and then finally enjoying the fruits of your labor. It will be really cool for people to see you go through this kind of transformation and be a part of your journey. It also helps them trust you because they've seen that you're doing your research, that you're taking it seriously, and they've built a personal connection with you along the way. This this one I love. And some people just are like, this is crazy. You're insane. I can't do this. For most of us, we start out on social media kind of as a journal. We're just posting things here and there. We're not really sure what we're posting about. Maybe it's a smattering of, sometimes I talk about work. Sometimes I talk about my kids. Sometimes I talk about fitness. Sometimes I post our family vacation. All of that is great. And the best way to organize it is into 5 topics that you talk about. The reason 5 works really well is because the Instagram grid is 3 across. So then your messages never stack directly on top of each other. So maybe you're going to pick things like you want to share motivational quotes from your personal development. If that's your 5th pillar and you're posting that every 5 posts, you're never going to have it line up where all of your quotes are stacked on top of each other. So finding 5 things that you're willing and able and excited to talk about over and over again really helps. This makes it easier to plan content. It makes it easier to sit down and write things. It makes it easier to have kind of a reserve of images. So if you're always posting about, your work-life balance, what you're cooking, your fitness, what you're learning in your personal development and things about your team culture, then you're able to quickly kind of batch that out and to save images and to find inspiration to make it really, really meaningful. So once you've picked your 5 messaging pillars or your 5 topics to talk about, we always want to remember how these lead back to business conversations. So remember we talked about at the beginning, starting with the end in mind. If your end goal is to find more people to join you as a business partner, then we need to know how what we're posting about leads back to business conversations. So that every post doesn't have to be a business post. Every post doesn't have to be, I work for Shaklee, come join my team. That starts feeling really, really robotic, and it really, really turns people off. I don't know how many of you guys have gotten that out of the blue, hey girl, hey message, where you're like, oh gosh, I already know what's coming. We don't want to become that. So my sister is a real estate agent. And one time we were talking about her social media, getting her messaging pillar set up. And she's like, but I love talking about restaurants. And I love talking about this. And I was like, well, why don't you make one of your messaging pillars become a neighborhood spotlight? She's a real estate agent, so she needs things to lead back to people wanting to be interested in buying or selling their home. So one of her messaging pillars became neighborhood spotlights. So in those neighborhood spotlight posts, she was able to share her favorite restaurant, her favorite park, and her favorite boutique in each neighborhood. So she could spotlight different neighborhoods around the county that she works in, and that would lead back to business conversations. So here's a couple of ways you can do that on things that will help you, that maybe you're doing already, lead back to conversations about the Shaklee business. So maybe you're into home improvement projects, or you bought a fixer-upper, or because you're so excited because you've reached a cool bonus that you guys are expanding your home. The cool thing is, as you post about these home improvement projects, always make sure that you're saying something like, it's so awesome that I can be here in the middle of the day for all these deliveries. Or we have some guy coming over at sometime between 11 and 5 to drop off our new washer and dryer. Who has time to sit around and do that? Well, I do, because of the kind of work I do. I have that flexibility, and so can you. So if something you're passionate about is home improvement projects, and you're couching it this way, that you have the flexibility to be able to do these things that no one else really does, that leads back to a business conversation. Maybe you love doing service or humanitarian work. So maybe you volunteer somewhere regularly, or you go on mission trips, or you get to do these cool things all over. You can be posting about those things regularly. You can talk about how much you love to volunteer and the time you get to invest in those things, because you're able to do this because you stopped building someone else's business and started building your own. You now have more flexibility to be able to do these things in the middle of the day that you didn't have before. Or you're able to take your entire family on a trip because you hit bonuses, or you're able to do those things from building your business and all of that hard work. Maybe you're homeschooling. Maybe you're distance learning like the rest of us, or maybe you get to volunteer in your student's classroom. All of those things can be enabled because of your Shaklee business. And it could have started off as my little side business, became so much more than that. If you're nervous to get started, don't worry, so was I. I'm here to help you. So making sure that as we pick those messaging pillars, we have a clear path back in our mind of how we go from a post to responding to comments into that one-on-one conversation where we're telling people, I did this and so can you. All right, the last thing I would tell you to do is to do a social media Monday. And it doesn't have to be Monday, but I prefer Monday simply because I like starting my week off right. I like to get things checked off my list. I don't know if any of you guys are like that, but sometimes when it's just looming around, it drives me crazy. So pick one day of the week and block time to do most of your social media work. This is going to take some time at the beginning. When you first start doing this, it's going to feel kind of weird. You're going to get distracted. Your mind's going to go all over the place. That's super normal. So give yourself a little bit of compassion as you're figuring this out. The cool thing is, if you do this, you can sit down. You can say, I want to schedule 3 posts this week, or I want to post 5 times this week. Use your topics. Go, okay, I am posting about my home improvement project. I'm posting about this. I'm posting about that. Sit down. And this is the part that sounds the most bizarre to most people. Write your caption first. Yep, write your caption first. Your feed is where you're gonna find people. It's where you're gonna give experience, expertise. This is where you identify problems people have and you give them the solution. So writing these captions, these really good captions, is so important. It's a lot easier to have a good story to tell and a caption written, and then go find a photo or take a picture that fits the image, fits kind of like what you're thinking the image should look like, than it is to go the opposite. So sit down, write your captions. Do it first. Then what you do is you find in your images, scroll through, you've probably got a million of them. If you're someone who regularly posts about working out, you probably have 30 photos you've never posted of you working out. If you're someone who loves being with your family and you're always doing things like puzzling or cooking or crafts, you probably have a ton of photos you haven't used that are already there. So go find the photo that you're looking for. If you're going to create some kind of graphic or an image, go do that. And if you don't have the image or graphic that fits with it, go ahead and say, boom, that goes on my to-do list, and either take care of it right away or make sure that you have it on your mental to-do list or checklist for the week to take that image. Then you can schedule them. Okay, a lot of people love schedulers and they pay for them or they use free versions. There's a lot of great ones out there. One of my favorite is Later, if you're looking for a scheduling tool. If you want to be the lazy man, this is the easiest hack ever. Go into your Instagram, put the photo in, add the caption, and save it as a draft. Then you can go back in later and post it. If it's supposed to go up on Wednesday, go back in on later on Wednesday, into your app on Wednesday. Go and just post it. But I go in, I put them all in, I put all the captions in. That way they're there and they're ready to go right away. So hopefully that gives you guys a couple of really great tips on ways to get started. So what is coming next? This is what I'm excited about. Harper is going to do some giveaways with you guys today to win the opportunity for a social media audit. So that'll be really fun. So a handful of you I'm going to get to work with one-on-one, looking at where you're at, what you can be doing, and providing you with some additional tips and tricks just for you. So whatever she's doing to give those away, trust me, it's worth it. Mostly because you'll get 5 or 6 or 7, or some people get too many good tips out of that. But it's also fun to have some one-on-one time with you guys because I really do love getting to know you, to know your stories, and to be able to follow your journey on social and make really good comments. So that's definitely worth it. We're also going to do a special team training on Monday the 18th. So look for that coming from Harper. We are going to talk all about developing your 5 messaging points. We'll go through a worksheet together, answer questions. So if you're spinning your mind going, I'm not quite sure this fits, I'm not really sure how to do this, that we'll be able to go through that together in kind of a workshop style. The other thing to be looking for is that handout of 100 plus social media prompts. So that'll be coming to you too. That way you guys have it and you can get going right away. Along with all these awesome things that Harper's doing for you, inside the Shackley Effect, we've started a new series of training called 3-2-1, where we tackle one topic at a time. We'll give you 3 quick tips, 2 examples, and 1 challenge that you can go do right away to up your social media game. So I am so excited for you guys. This is going to be the best year ever at Shackley. I have never been at a company that has been positioned so perfectly with products that everyone needs, promotions and programs that help support new distributors coming in and makes it fun and exciting and financially rewarding to get them started, and that has such an amazing community like this. I have been here for the last year and a half, and I have loved absolutely every minute of it. I cannot wait to be with you guys on the 18th to be able to answer questions and be there live with you and go back and forth in kind of a workshop style. And I'm so excited to see all of you guys grow your business this year.
Awesome. Okay, how do I, sorry. Okay, awesome. I hope that you guys really enjoyed that. That was something that Ryan and I were so excited about, to have just some of that incredible practical knowledge. Now we will be posting the slides, all of those slides I will be posting in Go Wellness, and that 100 those 100 prompts. And then I will put in the events on Go Wellness, that live training that we're doing on the 18th. So on the 11th is the vision board. And then on the 18th is the live training with Selena. So I am just so thankful for that, and for what she is sharing. Now, sticking with the topic of social media, I will tell you that something that I personally have learned in the last year is that being authentic doesn't mean not creating something beautiful, and that there's a big difference between being sloppy and like being authentic is not the same thing. And so one of the people, there are two main people that I've learned this from. One of them is Ryan, who is really good at helping me in the moment make things look just that little bit different. But the other person is Lauren Breeden. And if you know her, you know that she is one of the most authentic people you have ever met in your entire life. But she also has a way of capturing beauty and helping to make things look attractive for the benefit of other people and to connect with other people. So she is going to share with us just a few quick tips on that specific topic, because as we think about this and as we do those tips that Selena mentioned, creating something that does take our authentic self and make it look nice is really important. And that's something I've definitely learned from Lauren. So Lauren, I am super excited to have you share with us.
Thank you so much, Harper. Okay, I am going to try and share my screen because, okay, hold on. It's saying that I have to quit Zoom in order to share my screen. I think because I'm not on my account. So let me see if I can try this again. Here we go. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I don't know if you guys just did something on the back end, but thank you. You fixed it. Okay, so funny because Selena really kind of helped set us up. And it's funny because when I was preparing this, I was even thinking to myself, having quality images and being authentic and vulnerable do not have to be mutually exclusive. So thanks, Harper. You even helped kind of introduce that as well. So this really isn't any kind of social media tips. We just got a wealth of those. This is truly just about creating quality images. It's not about trying to appear perfect or like we have it all together. It's truly just about making those connections, adding the value, and really just catching someone's attention and stopping that scroll. So here's just a little example. This is something I did in my stories recently where I was giving away the Triple Defense Boost and the tea. And this is just like a great way to make connections with people. I had people enter into that. And so that was just a great way for me, because the goal of social is always to be making those connections off of social, right? So could I have had those same results with an image on the right? Maybe, but I do think that a pretty photo, again, it just helps to capture that attention. So here are some tips. So one of the first ones is lighting. Natural lighting is best. Try not, I've taken pictures like in the sun and you can get weird shadows and it can be a little bit too bright. So trying to do kind of like the shade or near a window works really well. Our kitchen table just happens to be near some windows, and that's where I take a lot of these types of pictures. And then the second thing, you don't have to buy presets. Presets are very popular right now. You can see them a lot on Instagram, and I've never seen free ones that people have offered that are really high quality, but you don't have to purchase those. So you can actually change the brightness and the saturation and things like that in your photo setting on your camera, or you can use a free app like VSCO or Adobe Lightroom or Instagram. So you can just see just a subtle difference here. It's really just about trying to kind of bump up that lighting and that saturation, and so that the images really pop. And with food pictures, I really, really encourage you to use real plates. I'm not paper plate shaming, but I just encourage you to put it on a real plate and have that good lighting. And food and recipes, I will say, are an incredible way for us to be a resource to people. People are always looking for inspiration with their meals and with snack ideas. And it's, again, a great way to make connections with people. Another tip, super simple, make sure your camera is clean, and so that your photo is not blurry. That can be a huge game changer alone. Another thing is to play around with different perspectives and angles. So for example, when I was sharing those peppermint chocolate bites, I took a variety of different angles, and I ended up picking the one where I'm actually holding them up vertically with my Christmas tree in the background. You can also play around with different moods with photos and videos. I do this a lot with my videos and my Instagram stories, where you can kind of change the feel of it just by even changing like the music. And so sometimes it's like a cozy scene, and sometimes it's just bright and fun, and we're kind of just showing different parts of our personalities. And then another thing is ask people to take a photo for you. It doesn't always have to be a selfie. So just a little tip right there. And then also just capture what makes you happy. And so there are so many simple beauties and wonderful things all around us. And I love using stories for sharing that more often. Just even people responding when I shared a picture of a cardinal and how that made me happy, and other people feel the same way. And so sometimes it's just about that lighthearted, simple joys, and people connect with that as well. Okay, another tip is stand up on a chair or a stool to get the best bird's eye view, and then also shoot from different angles, and you can use that content for another post. So this is just an example of some meal prep I did. So I took that photo on the right to use as a cover image of my reels that I did about meal prepping. But then you can see I took those are Life Shake pumpkin muffins, and I did a completely different angle. And then I had a whole other post sharing a recipe for these really simple muffins. So another tip, flat lay. So flat lay is just shooting on a flat surface, and ask yourself, what's the why or objective behind this picture that I'm trying to capture? And then choose a clean background or a blank surface. So like a wooden table, a white sheet, or like neutral flooring, because we want the objects to be popping and not necessarily the background. And then what's the main object? So for example, if we're sharing a post about the business, it could be your computer. And then if we're talking about maybe Meology, maybe it's the Meology box and it's the different packets. And then we can add in supporting props like our planner or cup of tea, your reading glasses, a pen, flowers. So just, again, it kind of helps to create this beautiful image that's going to help people to stop their scroll. So last tip is just to have fun. This can be a really fun part of our job. I feel like don't let it stress you out or consume a ton of your time. Just see it, this is a creative outlet, and we can always be learning and we can be growing in this area. And I just encourage you, see the beauty and the goodness and the opportunities all around us and share it with the world. So I hope those tips help. And if you have any questions, feel free, you can always message me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lauren. I love those simple but so incredibly powerful tips, and I have learned so much from you, and I'm sure you will post your slides on for everybody too, because those were some incredible tips. Because it's incredible how, just like with what Christine was sharing so many of these things, is that little things make a big difference. And I appreciate that so much. Thank you. The next person that we're going to hear from is Katie Odom. And she is going to be just sharing with us some really important tips around our mindset. And one of the things that can happen when you leave something like this is you're like, oh, this was so great. And then all of a sudden, those negative things come in your head. And this time with Katie, I want you to really take some notes, because so that you can, when you leave and you're like, those were great, but that you really pay attention to what she's sharing about mindset, because that is so crucial in the good that we are trying to accomplish. So Katie, you with your success, not just in rank, but in growth and the lives that you've impacted, excited for everyone to be able to hear from you today.
Thank you, Harper. I'm excited as well. Okay. Ignore my messy background. Okay, so I'm going to be talking to you today about growth versus fixed mindset. You guys have probably heard of this before. So there was actually a school where they had high school students that had to get like 84 credits. And when they handed in their grades, what teachers gave them was not a fail, but they gave if they didn't pass, a not yet. So I want to take that and think about our business and look at it as that if you have a goal of director, if you have a goal of key, if you have a goal of master, whatever your goal is, not looking at it as, well, right now I'm not those things, but looking at it as instead, not yet there. So when we think about a fixed versus growth mindset, it's important to identify what the difference is between the two. A fixed mindset will avoid challenges. They are unable to handle criticism or feedback. They really look at the approval of other people. They focus on protecting yourself. They're threatened by other people's success, whereas a growth mindset looks at challenges as opportunities. They look at the inspiration and success of other people as motivation and as encouragement. They treat things as an opportunity to continually learn, and they see problems as interesting challenges. And so as I think back on this year, I realized that I've had to really work towards having that growth mindset. And as wonderful as this whole year has been, it's also been one of the personally hardest years of my life. And what I've had to do is I've had to focus on spending a lot of time moving more from the fixed mindset to the growth mindset. And let me just say, because it might be easy to see the success of Christine or Lauren or Kristen or all these people. But one thing that I want you to remember with each of these individuals that have spoken today is the failure that we've all experienced, but that we didn't let those things get in the way, but we decided to keep growing. So as I think about our business, I want you to think about some of the things that hold us back. And this is what I hear from other people. And I've been guilty of this myself. So these are things that I'm working towards. I don't have time. I'm really busy. I'm homeschooling my kids, or my kids are home now, or I'm working full time. I'm not meeting anyone new. I mean, that's the reality of what's going on right now. I don't know enough about the comp plan or enough about the products. I'm not like Lauren. I'm not good on social media. I'm not a good leader. Those are all fixed mindsets, because the reality is Lauren learned how to do those skills in order to attract people on social media. Christine learned how to work on her follow-up and work on all of the things and to be able to reach her huge goal. So try instead thinking on, what am I missing? What are different strategies? As I think about my business, I am constantly every single month thinking about new ways to grow my business. So right now, obviously, like we're talking about social media, reels are a big thing. So I didn't know how to do reels, but I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to take 10 minutes, learn how to do them, and I'm going to start to do them. And they're getting great attention. Sometimes we don't allow ourselves enough opportunity to learn and take time in our business to train our brain into doing new things. So when we think about what we want to accomplish this year, I don't want you to focus on I think so often we get focused on what we need to do. And instead, I want to work and share a couple tips on how to move towards that growth mindset. So the first one is to acknowledge and embrace your imperfections. You know, as Selena shared today, authenticity matters in our business. And any successful business leader, Harper, any of the people on this team are going to say that in order to be successful, they've had to learn along the way, which have come with failures. I'll share one of those with you. So in October, I was reaching really hard towards my 20K, and it was October 31st, and I did not hit my goal. But I decided on November 1st, I was going to make it happen. Did I want it in October? Yes, I wanted it sooner. But instead, I decided, what am I going to do differently this month? What skills do I need to learn? And what do I need to get better? And sure enough, in November, I hit it. And so as you think about this year, look at challenges, look at failures, look at the not yets as opportunities for growth. The next thing is to try different learning tactics. We have to do this a lot in our business. So if you're struggling to get new business partners, think about new ways to get new business partners. Our ATM group is a perfect example of that. So we're doing something different. We're doing something unique, a group where all of the resources and videos are laid out for you to be successful. All we have to do is plug and invite people into that group. Stop seeking the approval of other people. I think so often we hold back because we're worried about what other people are going to think. But when we develop that growth mindset, we set aside what they're going to think and we think more about what this gift could mean for them. And then probably one of the most important things I want to mention today, is the value of the process over the end result. I'm going to repeat that. The value of the process over the end result. So for me on November 1st, I wasn't going to focus on the 20K. Instead, I was going to focus on what are the steps that I need to do to make changes in my business to get to where I need to be. They're all about those habits that we develop day in and day out. Just did a post on that, that accumulate over time. And place effort before talents. The cultivate grit, I know that Julie shared that today, so I'll skip over that, but just how important it is as we think about this year to cultivate that attitude of grit and to take ownership of our attitude. You know, there are things that can distract us in our business and really sometimes even get us down, but instead realize we have ownership over how we're going to respond. And then lastly, be willing to take risks. And then the last thing I just want to share is as we think about that growth mindset, I want to encourage you to define your wins. What will your 2021 wins be for you? Did you know that you're 78% likely? 78, that's over 3/4 of the way likely to achieve a goal when you do two things, when you write it down and when you share with someone else. So I hope that when you finish the call today, that you write down what your goals are and then you share it with your upline and your team. And when we think about our goals and that growth mindset, it's really important to put an end date to it. So if you're looking to hit pace setters, put by January 30th on there. If you're looking to hit Star Club, put by January 30th on there. If you're looking to go on the dream trip, put by December 31st on there. If you're wanting to qualify for car payments, have that date in mind, because our brains are wired in such a way when we have that plan, when we have that goal and we write it down and we start sharing with other people and we work on learning and we work on our growth, you're more likely to achieve it. And then I had one more thing I'll quickly mention. Is that this is a great tool that's in our back office. It's on identifying qualified leads and picking your dream team. So Jeff talked about this today. This I encourage you to do today. Don't let time get away from you. I had fun filling mine out and I just filled them because as we think about a growth mindset, we want the people we attract into the business to have a growth mindset. I'll be honest, the people that haven't been successful on my team are the ones that haven't been willing to have that growth mindset. And so when I think about what are the values, what are the behaviors, what are the skills, I'm going to be very clear of what I'm looking for in a business partner. I think so often we focus on the name, put the name on, put 100 people on a list. But I want to be very clear on who I want to attract. What are the things that are important to them? What are the behaviors? I want the next business partner of mine to have that growth mindset of learning along the way, never giving up, and being willing to commit to the journey and not to focus on the results. So I think that's it. And I hope this was helpful.
Awesome, Katie. That was so incredible. Thank you for sharing that with us. And we will make sure that if you can't find that sheet that Katie just posted, we will make sure to post that for you, because that is, and it just ties all of these things together. And I just love having seen Katie grow in this area, and all of us, like she said, like we have all had failures. And some of the things that I thought were so important is, what am I going to do differently? What skills do I need to grow, and the process over the result, and just being willing to try something new. And I think that that is so powerful. And Katie, you have not only you have done that, like what you said is so true and so authentic to who you are and what's been such a pillar for success. And as we just wrap up, I just had a few more things to share. Let's see. And I've talked about this with a handful of people, this idea about the donut, and really thinking about I thought what Selena said was so powerful. And this thing we talk about a lot is that just throwing something out there and hoping the people come to you isn't going to necessarily be effective, and it isn't necessarily going to bring you the right people. And so I think we get a lot of fear too when we're thinking about this, is like that people, they have to be in our inner circle. Like we only want to talk to like people that are really close in our inner circle. And then there's way more fear involved with those people because we have a lot of preconceived notions, and but really thinking about who is in that outer circle of people you know. Who is someone that maybe you know casually, but you admire from afar, or you see those qualities in them? They're the people with the sprinkles, right? Like that's where the sprinkles are. And it doesn't mean that munchkins aren't awesome and that those people in the donut hole aren't sometimes a great fit. But really thinking about, don't narrow your focus to just those people who are super close, but really thinking about, who are the people, like expanding those circles of who you're considering. And just because you don't know them as well, and you don't know their financial situation, and you don't know if they love their job, it doesn't mean you can't bring that. Because I thought what Jeff said was so powerful about how that when you share with them and you tell them, these are the great qualities about you and why I would like to partner with you, they may say not yet, but now they're watching. And they're paying attention. And I thought that was so popular. And that is something that I have definitely seen to be true in this business. And then I wanted, for those of you who, I don't know, it's been a long time, but when I first made the decision, mindset was huge for me, getting started in this business. Like those things that Katie said, it's still something that I have to work on a regular basis. My default is a fixed mindset, and and I have to work, and obviously I've grown in it a lot because I've worked really hard at mindset, but that mindset and personal development was the shift for me. And Michael Hyatt, in his early days, was one of the #1 people that I sought after for personal development. But he actually has, in his Best Year Ever course and book, he talks about actually smarter goals. So we talk about SMART goals, but smarter goals. And I wanted to share this with you as you're thinking, as you're preparing for Monday night's vision board, as you're really hopefully taking what we've talked about today, and like Christine said, like putting the big things out there. Like we want to have smaller goals, like goals along the way, but having those bigger goals, but making them be specific, measurable, actionable, risky, like Christine said, like a little risky. Like we want to make them that stretch us a little bit. Time keyed, so they have a specific end date, and obviously some of the incentives this year help us with that. Exciting. I love this piece of being exciting, because you are probably sitting here and you're getting excited, right? You're getting excited about what is happening and what's going on in our team and all these things that people are saying, and really getting excited about your goals. And when you're excited about your goals and you figure out ways to make those goals exciting, and that make sure that they excite you about how this is going to change your life. And then also relevant to the seasons of your life, relevant to just the things that you're going through and where you're at. But I really loved that that smarter goals piece, and I just wanted to share that with you. But the other thing is that one of the things that I think a lot of people struggle with here is confidence. And I think that it's remembering that, like, when you're seeing what everybody's sharing, you're seeing some of these things that people accomplish, is really thinking about that confidence comes with work. And my encouragement for you is to find belief in what this can be for you, and belief in what this can be for other people. And just because it isn't all of those things for you yet, doesn't mean that the possibility of it being those things can show belief. And that was really what started for us, it was the belief in what could be long before it actually was. And that's how you have to start building your business. And so, like Julie was talking about, having belief in our business model and in our company, which we all know that we can have incredible confidence in. Belief in our team. You are not in this alone. I hope that being part of this morning builds your confidence in that everybody here is your cheerleading squad. Like, we are here to support you, to help you. And then take that and be confident in that and in yourself, that you are capable to do this. Because remember, belief shapes our actions, but almost always actions come before confidence. Just because we don't have the confidence doesn't mean we can't get into action. And once we get into action, that builds our confidence. So do some of these things. Be willing to take those steps to make some of these changes. Like Katie said, what are you going to do differently? And I think really thinking about, this is something that Christine and I talked about a lot, is this ABC, like action, belief, and consistency. So what is holding you back? Where do you need to grow? Actions, like using that vital activities tracker, knowing the steps you need to take, thinking about what Christine shared. Maybe that's where you need to start in social media. How are you going to get out there and share this opportunity with those, identifying those quality people that Katie was talking about? Where do you need to grow in your belief? Where do you need to develop a growth mindset? And then where do you need to be consistent? And just following through every day. I talked, a lot of my conversations with those of you who I spoke with individually this year were about that goals have to have habits and actions. Like, our goals have to be part of habits. And so really considering, we always talk about this idea of, like, what am I going to start? What am I going to stop? And what am I going to keep doing? And how, like Katie said it so well, what are you going to do differently? And I think that as we wrap this up and we go into our small groups to connect and talk about actions, that this really is such a turning point, because you and I and us and so many people that are out there are ready to look towards the future, right? They're ready to look towards the future and what can be. And whether it's through health or through, like I said, I love what you said about that we can be part of the health revolution, but we can also revolutionize people's financial well-being, which, like we always talk about, and like Julie said, it's giving you the option to do what you want to do and not what you have to do, to give you choice. In a year, like Kristen said, where things felt out of control, but this was something that we had some control over, to invest, to be resilient together for good. And I think that has been such an important part of our team and our team's success and what we're doing here. So thank you so much for joining us today. We will be posting all this information, all the things that you found available for you to get. We are so thankful for each and every one of you and the part that you will play in this team. And we're so thankful to bring you this morning for you to be able to grow, to think differently, to be challenged, to get into action. And we're so excited about what 2021 will be for our team. Thank you guys so much for being here today.
And don't forget to hop on the Zoom after with your leader.